I want to take you back in time. We're going to the Tang Dynasty, right into the heart of the bustling Silk Road, to talk about a merchant named Lu Yun. Now, this guy had it all, or so it seemed. Wealth, prestige, three booming silk shops. On paper, he was absolutely crushing it. But inside, he was dealing with a surprisingly modern problem, this deep, hollow feeling of anxiety and just emptiness.
So, if you were walking through the capital city of Chang'an, you'd see Lu Yang and think, wow, that guy's the definition of success. But behind closed doors, it was a totally different story. For 3 straight years, he hadn't had a single good night's sleep. His mind was just this relentless storm of worry about profits, about his rivals, about what could go wrong next. He called his life a leaky bag. No matter how much success he poured in, it just never felt full. He was at his wits' end. So, in total desperation, he travels up to a mountain temple to find a wise elder named Wukong. And he's not there for some long, drawn-out philosophy lesson. Nope, he wants a quick fix. He literally asks for a magic pill to just instantly get rid of this sickness in his heart. But Elder Wukong didn't have a pill. He offered something way more powerful, a path. You could almost call it an operating system for a better life. So we're going to walk that path with Lu Yun. We'll start by looking at this prosperity sickness, then dive into the 8-step cure, explore the core pillars of wisdom, conduct, and discipline, and finally, see how he found his own awakening to what fulfillment really means.
So first, what exactly was the problem? Well, you could call it Chang'an's prosperity sickness. And it's that feeling when you're winning, but it feels like you're losing. Sound familiar? It's basically burnout, it's hustle culture, it's that constant anxiety of needing more, more, more. The story says Lu Yuan's mind was like a frightened wild horse, always running, fueled by desire and fear, with absolutely no way to stop. Even his fancy, luxurious bed gave him zero rest.
And Wukong's diagnosis? It was profound because it was so simple. He looked at Lu Yun and said, "You aren't sick." He explained that the problem wasn't some disease that needed a cure. He had just lost his way. His life just needed a course correction. And that course correction had a name, the Eightfold Path. Now, the elder didn't present this as some complicated, mystical teaching. He framed it as a practical, step-by-step guide to finding fulfillment right in the middle of his hectic life as a merchant, a real hands-on toolkit. This whole path is really built on 3 fundamental pillars. It all starts with wisdom, which is just about seeing the world and yourself clearly. That clear seeing naturally leads to conduct, making sure your daily actions line up with that new understanding. And holding it all together is discipline, which is really about training your mind to stay focused and calm even when life gets chaotic.
Okay, so let's dig into that first pillar, wisdom. This is the foundation for everything else, because the journey to inner peace doesn't start with changing what you do. It starts with changing how you see. Wukong had this brilliant metaphor for it. He told Lu Yun, your mind is like a murky pond. The ripples on the surface, all those desires for wealth and fame and status, they distort everything. You start thinking there are monsters down in the depths, when really, you're just being terrified by your own illusions. So these first 2 steps are all about clearing up that murky water. Right view is about really, truly accepting that everything, your wealth, your reputation, everything is impermanent. It comes and it goes. Once Lu Yun started to get that, his fear of losing everything began to fade. Then comes right thought. This is about cleaning up your motivations, shifting from a place of greed and competition to one of kindness. It's about turning your inner world from a battlefield into a garden.
But understanding isn't enough, right? You have to actually live it. And that brings us to the second pillar, conduct. This is all about how Lu Yun started to put these ideas into practice in his everyday life back at the market. Let's take right speech. One day, a furious customer storms into his shop, screaming about some tiny flaw in a piece of silk. Now, the old Lu Yun, he would have argued, probably insulted the guy, and definitely kicked him out. But this time was different. Guided by what he was learning, he took a breath. And instead of anger, he chose honesty, humility, and generosity. His response was just a total game changer. And the result? It was incredible. The angry customer was totally stunned. He actually apologized for his outburst. And from that day forward, he became one of Lu Yun's most loyal customers and one of his closest friends. Lu Yun saw right then and there how a simple shift in his words could turn a fight into a real connection. So Lu Yan started applying this principle to everything. He began practicing right action, turning down shady deals even if they promised a huge profit. And he started practicing right livelihood, deciding to pay the silkworm farmers a fair wage instead of squeezing every last coin out of them. And guess what? For the first time in 3 years, he started sleeping through the night.
But we all know old habits die hard, don't we? The world is full of temptation. Lu Yan realized that without some serious mental training, all his good intentions would just fall apart. And that led him to the final, and maybe most crucial pillar: discipline. To teach him about right mindfulness, Wukong gave Lu Yan a super simple task: just sweep the temple courtyard. After a while, he came over and pointed out that Lu Yan's body was sweeping, sure, but his mind was back in the city, stressing about his business. Wukong said, "Your body is here, but your mind is in Chang'an." That's mindlessness. Mindfulness is bringing the two together. Because where your mind is, that's where your life actually is. So this mental workout had 3 key parts. Right effort was just the daily grind, the persistent practice of sweeping the courtyard, of choosing good habits over bad ones. Right mindfulness was that moment-to-moment awareness of his thoughts without judging them. And right concentration, which he developed through meditation, was the ability to find this deep, unshakable calm inside himself, no matter what kind of chaos was happening at the marketplace.
So after 3 months up on that mountain, Lu Yan went back home to Chang'an. He was still a silk merchant, still lived in the same house with the same family. Everything on the outside looked exactly the same. But on the inside, he was a completely different person.
He just wasn't obsessed with being the richest guy in town anymore. His new goal was different: to create the most beautiful, highest quality silk he possibly could. Products that had real heart and value. And here's the paradox. By letting go of that desperate need to win, his reputation soared, his relationships got deeper, and his business actually flourished more than it ever had before. Decades later, as an old man, Lu Yan shared what he'd learned. He said that the fulfillment he tried so desperately to pour into his leaky bag life, well, it was never something he could find out there. It was inside him the whole time, just waiting to be uncovered. Lu Yan's ancient story isn't just a story, is it? It's really a mirror for our own modern lives. It shows us a timeless path away from anxiety and towards a life that actually feels meaningful. And so it leaves us with a really powerful question. Of these 8 steps on the path, where does your journey begin?